children, welcome to Tejus Education. This is a continuation video of the lesson Life Processes Class 10 Biology CBSE Board. Animals have evolved different organs for uptake of oxygen from environment and releasing carbon dioxide. Terrestrial animals, there are special organs called lungs. But in aquatic animals, they don't have special organs. They have to use oxygen found in dissolved form in water. Let's discuss few important questions from this part of the lesson. Why the rate of breathing in aquatic organism is much faster than the terrestrial ones? Since the amount of dissolved oxygen is fairly low compared to the amount of oxygen present in the atmosphere, the rate of breathing in aquatic organism is faster than the terrestrial organism. The fishes take in water through the mouth, force it pass through the gills, and from there the dissolved oxygen is taken up by the blood. Now let's analyze this picture. I have shown that terrestrial organisms are taking in oxygen from the atmosphere. What do you call for the process of taking in oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide? It is called breathing. Then what is respiration? The process of acquiring oxygen from outside the body and using it for the breakdown of food sources for cellular needs is called respiration. So this is happening inside our cell. Cellular needs, digesting our food, moving our muscles, right? Walking, dancing, in the case of animals, moving from one place to another. So many activities. Okay. So breathing and respiration, they are two different processes. Oxygen is absorbed by different organs in different animals. We know that, right? Earthworm is through skin, insects have trachea and spiracles, lungs is there for terrestrial animals. So what exactly is the condition of the surface where these exchange of gases take place? These surface areas are always in contact with oxygen-rich atmosphere, and the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place across them. So they are very fine and delicate. In human lungs, it happens across alveoli, inside the lungs. The air sac is the alveoli. Exchange of gases takes place through alveoli in human beings. And in this picture, you can see that the lungs is protected by our rib cage. So lungs is inside the rib cage, but still there is passages that will take air to this particular area, right? In addition, there is a mechanism of moving the air in and out of this area where oxygen is absorbed. So rib cage is protecting the lungs. Now a simple diagram is explaining the human respiratory system. If you see, this is the nostril, the air is entering, there is nasal hair as well as mucus lining which act as a filter. The air enters, this is the throat part, it's called pharynx. Then here we have the voice box, larynx, and the larynx have an epiglottis, the cover which prevents the food from entering the trachea or windpipe. And here we see the rings of cartilage which protect the trachea, otherwise they will fall off. Then this trachea is branching into two. It's called bronchi, and this bronchi again branches into bronchioles. At end of the bronchioles, we find air-like sac called alveoli. And we learned that in human being, the exchange of gases takes place across the alveoli. Carbon dioxide is released, oxygen is absorbed, right? Human respiratory system explanation. Air enters through the nostril, is filtered by nasal hair. There is layer of mucus which also acts as a filter. Then the air passes through the pharynx, reach through the larynx, and then it enters to the trachea, right? Then the trachea has rings of cartilage, bronchi, bronchioles, alveoli, and we also learned that the lungs are placed inside the rib cage. Then comes a dome-shaped muscle called diaphragm, right? It plays an important role in breathing. When we breathe in, we lift our ribs. So when the ribs are lifted, the diaphragm flattens, the dome shape, right? The chest cavity becomes larger, and this helps more air to enter our lungs, and as well as the alveoli expands. So during inhalation, it expands, right? When we breathe in. Now let's learn about few important questions that has been repeatedly asked in the board exams. What is the function of rings of cartilage? Rings of cartilage are helping the air passage not to collapse. That means they ensure that the air passage does not fall off. They are present in the throat. What is the role of diaphragm? This is the dome-shaped muscle. The diaphragm, a dome-shaped muscle at the base of lungs, plays an important role in breathing. We learned that when we breathe in, we lift our ribs and flatten our diaphragm, and thus the chest cavity becomes larger and more amount of air is sucked into the lungs and fills the expanded alveoli. And in alveoli, the exchange of gases takes place. What is an alveoli? The air passages divides into smaller and smaller tubes called bronchioles, which are finally terminated in balloon-like structures. Or we can say that end of the bronchioles you will find air-like sac or balloon-like structures which are called alveoli. And there again I will repeat, exchange of gases take place. How are alveoli designed to maximize or increase the exchange of gases? The alveoli provide a surface where exchange of gases take place. If you look at the picture, the walls of alveoli contain an extensive network of blood vessels, right? The red part. So the blood brings carbon dioxide from all parts of the body and releases into the alveoli. And the oxygen from the alveolar air is taken up by the blood and transported to all parts of the body. So please learn this answer. A very important question. Why the lungs always contain residual volume of air? It is containing a residual volume of air because sufficient time for oxygen absorption and carbon dioxide released is required. So during the breathing, when the air is taken in and let out, the lungs always contain a residual volume of air. Study well, children. How is oxygen distributed to all parts of the body in larger animals like human, or how is oxygen transported in human beings? Another important question. Respiratory pigment take up oxygen from the air in the lungs and carry to tissue which are deficient in oxygen. In human being, the respiratory pigment is haemoglobin, which has high affinity for oxygen. This pigment is found in RBC. How is carbon dioxide transported in human beings? Again, an important question. Carbon dioxide is more soluble in water than oxygen. Hence, is mostly transported in the dissolved form in our blood. All the best for upcoming board exam. Thanks for watching.